Morning, I'm Soumya Srajani and I'll be speaking about Iqbal Masih today. So, for a moment, I want you to think about the typical lifestyle of a 4-year-old. There's not much those toddlers do: sleep, drink milk, cry, eat, and sleep again. Surrounded by a blanket of parental love and affection, the little ones lead an uneventful lifestyle. Yet, in a remote village in Pakistan, a 4-year-old led a very different life. Waking up at dawn, he traveled dark roads and shady alleys to reach a textile factory, where, bound by tight chains, he helped weave carpets. He was enslaved, for his family borrowed 600 rupees and decided the only way to pay off his debt was to enslave their youngest son. We know of him as none other than Iqbal Masih, a brave young boy who took on child labor by himself. Iqbal had to work in a carpet factory as a slave, with inhuman working hours and a wage that nowhere near equaled his effort. Despite going to the police after Despite going to the police for help after Supreme Court's abolition of bonded labor, nothing changed. Unfazed, Iqbal went against all odds and joined the Bonded Labor Liberation Front, or the BLL, or the BLLF of Pakistan, to help stop child labor around the world. In just a short time, Iqbal freed as many as 3,000 children who had fallen victims to slavery. He made speeches in factories and asked children to speak their minds. His malnourished body and stunted growth were never perceived as a threat by those whose very establishment Iqbal dared to challenge. This young man shows us all how one can defy all the odds and emerge victorious, however fatal the situation may be. He inspires us to believe in ourselves and teaches us that we are the only ones who can help ourselves and no one else. Iqbal is the legend who dictates that solutions aren't handed on a silver platter. You have to find them yourself. And once you find them, don't be afraid to help others. Such courage from a man of just 11. In a time where most children are still learning about the stories of others, he not only freed himself from slavery, but daringly rescued others, leaving behind a tale of his own. Thank you.
Good one. Well done. Okay. Anything new as to why Iqbal Masih? Soumya.
I'm being very frank. I think I knew that people would be speaking on Malala and Greta Thunberg. So
Okay.
I either ways looked into all four people. I knew a little about Malala Yousafzai and Greta Thunberg. I read much more about Samantha Smith and Iqbal Masih, and I found out that, as you said, he's not been very covered very widely, and he didn't
Yes.
really. I couldn't find a lot of minute details as you could in other cases, and I found that this was a story which was not, which a lot of people didn't know about. He might have been an activist, but since his assassination, he's somewhat forgotten. So I think it's better if you take up someone who people don't know about and something which hasn't been covered very widely. And I think that's just a sad fact that he's not been covered widely.
Good morning, everybody. Today I'll be talking about Iqbal Masih, a youth leader, a past youth leader. Iqbal Masih was an inspirational young boy. He achieved more than what most 12-year-olds can do. He didn't let his age get in the way. Iqbal Masih was a Pakistani Christian boy born in 1983 in Murrike, Pakistan. He belonged to a poor family. His family had borrowed money from a local businessman who owned a carpet making factory, and in return, Iqbal was supposed to work there every day till their debt was paid off. He was just 4 at the time. Once he started working, he realized many other children were also there, chained so that they couldn't escape. They were treated very horribly. One day he got tired of working as he had been trying to pay the debt off since he was 4 years old, and in frustration he threw a fit, which got him into trouble. When he turned 10 years old, he ran away because he learned that child labor and bonding was illegal. So he went to the police and reported his owner. But the police outed him and he was given threats by the owner. Iqbal escaped once again and attended a school for former slaves. Iqbal Masih knew he had to do something to help thousands of other child slaves who were unable to escape and help them build a future like he was trying to for himself. He decided the best way was to attend meets and give speeches all over the world. This resulted in him helping 3,000 child slaves. He was so glad he could fight for justice and use his voice that he aspired to help demolish slavery, at least in children. He attended several international conferences to denounce the hardships of child weavers in Pakistan. He even went to countries in Europe and shared his story to encourage others to help such children. By the age of 12, he received numerous awards, such as the Reebok Human Rights Award in 1994. Unfortunately, before he could achieve more as an activist, he was shot by the same carpet weaving businessman who was involved in mafia and was declared dead at age 12 on Easter in 1995. Iqbal Masih is truly inspirational because he took courageous actions on behalf of child slaves and bonded laborers in Pakistan and around the world. Despite his short life, his passionate and powerful messages encouraged thousands to seek freedom and inspired many people around the world to join in his efforts and fight for a change. And now he is still considered as a symbol of abusive child labor in Pakistan.
Good morning, everyone. I am Yashaj Mehta of Class 8B, and I'm going to speak on the topic of inspirational young leaders. Humanity has been shaped today by the decisions and influence of leaders. Whether they have been assertive or peaceful, failed or successful, they all have played a role in changing our world. While most people only keep old and mature people in mind when they think of leaders, examples being Mahatma Gandhi, George Washington, and Napoleon Bonaparte, they, there are also young leaders who have been very influential to many people. One such example of an inspirational young leader is Samantha Smith, a girl who at the age of 10 brought awareness to the general population of the USA about the citizens of the USSR when the relations were extremely strained to the point where war was on the brink of happening. When Samantha Smith was 10 years old, the current leader of the USSR was, was Yuri Andropov. He was viewed as a violent ruler and was perceived as a new threat to the stability of the Western world. Reading about his actions in the Times magazine in 1982, Samantha Smith had written a letter to the leader at the age of 10, which made her a fearless and determined girl, for directly asking the president to know whether he wants to have a war or not. The letter was published in a Russian newspaper called the Pravda, but it was 1 year till the president received the letter. Andropov had read her letter and replied saying that he only believes in and does not believe in war. He even invited her to visit the USSR, where she stayed in Moscow, Leningrad, and Camp Ortek. From her experience there, she told that the people were very friendly and approachable, and that they were just like us. The mean referring to her people in the USA. Her visit to the USSR and her messages after coming back had really helped the general population of the USA realize that nuclear war was unnecessary if they are similar people and treat an outsider with such kindness. And while some critics believe that Samantha was bribed to tell lies and propaganda of her visit, so that people of the so that the people of the USA ease their deployments on military bases against the USSR, it has never been proven so. Unfortunately, she left the face of the planet at the age of 15 in a tragic plane accident in 1985. Samantha Smith should be an example for people to understand that war should not be attempted on other nations as it would cause the deaths of thousands of innocent civilians who are just other people like us. And with the growing tensions between China and India, her case is very relevant in today's times. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, good. Well done. Good one. And why Samantha Smith? Because there were others also who fell the way you talked about Samantha. There were a few others also who did a lot at a very young age.
Ma'am, me particularly, I'm really I'm really interested into history and politics of today's times. And like I had generally knew what Samantha Smith had done, but about
Mhm.
the others, Iqbal Masih, Malala Yousafzai, and Greta Thunberg, I didn't exactly know what they had done. So when I did Samantha Smith, I was the most comfortable.
You were maybe, and probably because, like you said, you wanted to do something, and I mean, you are more interested in politics. So, it did. Samantha did go about working
And
between
ma'am,
US
but ma'am,
and the
that
USSR.
does not mean that that the other people I didn't like their work. Like Greta Thunberg knew about Greta Thunberg is raising awareness about climate change, which is tremendously affecting our about our planet.
Right.
And Iqbal, from I didn't know anything about him, but from the paragraphs told by Soumya and the others, I understood what he had done.
Yeah, my name is Sabrina Warwick, and today I will be telling you, I will be speaking upon Samantha Reed Smith. She was a peace activist and a young child actress from Manchester, Maine. During the Cold War, she took serious interests in the fight between the US and the Soviet Union. And at the age of 10, her bravery was remarkable. As she said, she was also the youngest ambassador for America and gave a voice to the children who felt uneasy at the time of Cold War because, at the time, everybody knew how nuclear warfare could completely end the whole world. On November 1982, she wrote to words and Andropov, who at that time was one of the leaders of the USSR. On April 26, 1983, Andropov retaliated towards her and said that he felt by the letter she wrote she was a courageous girl, an honest girl, like Becky from the Tom Sawyer series written by Mark Twain. This was one of the biggest a compliment she could have ever got from someone that large. And on July 7th, 1983, she flew to Moscow to to look at the USSR and how the functioning went on. However, on June 29th, 1972, she was killed. She died in a plane crash and did receive condolences from other people. And she received condolences that were very beautifully written, like